Hi, my name is Karina Harney, Playboy's Playmate of the Year, 1992.
And I'm Echo Johnson, Miss January, 1993. Welcome to the Bunny Chronicles. Let's go. Welcome back. Hi, Karina.
Hello, Echo.
How you doing today, honey?
So good.
Yeah. You look fab.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Yeah.
You look gorgeous.
Thank you. It must be the makeup.
I am so excited.
Yeah, shout out to Sarah Cranham. My goodness, she is the best.
Sarah
We love
Cranham?
Miss Sarah, yep.
Can make
Makeup artist.
Yes.
Deluxe.
Incredible.
Well, trained by Alexis Vogel, who was the epitome of the
only
best
yes.
makeup artist ever from Playboy. So Sarah is on point with the makeup.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we have an awesome guest here today. I'm so excited. Mr. Michael Lee is joining us. Thanks for
Hello,
coming,
Michael
My
Lee.
pleasure. Good seeing you, Echo and
too.
Karina.
So good to see you.
So, gosh, again, just flashback. So Michael Lee was at Playboy for 13 years from 1990 to 2002 at Playboy Entertainment. He was a senior art director and the vice president creative director. And I know you and I certainly did a lot of stuff with Michael. So we're just so excited for him to be in here and really speak to that era and that time in Playboy, there's a lot going on.
A lot going on
During that time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of changes that were going on with the implementation of the World Wide Web or the .com.
Yes.
And then actually just opening up that whole department of Playboy Entertainment. So let's chat.
Let's
What are we
dive
gonna-
in.
What are we gonna talk about?
We talked about so much before we came on here. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, Michael, where do we start?
I know. This
So
is the
many memories.
question.
Excuse me. One thing that I have to say, I was telling Echo as we were driving over here that I have the fondest memories of you. And one thing that always stands out in my mind is you are always smiling, always joyful, and
impeccably dressed.
And impeccably dressed. His wardrobe, he was just saying he had the closet like
The Devil Wears Prada.
yes.
Yes, like the Devil Wears Prada in his office at Playboy.
I love it. If you needed shoes,
girls were like,
you knew
Michael's
where
office.
to go. And I even asked him. It was like old times, even though it's been 30 years or something.
It has
It has
been.
been.
Isn't that
It has been.
unbelievable?
It
It's
doesn't
been
even
that long.
seem. I
And the
know.
first thing I do is I said, "These earrings are these earrings."
Exactly.
And he just jumps right in. Oh, I love it.
So Michael, talk to us and tell us a little bit about like what your position exactly was, or what the responsibilities of a senior art director were and the creative director, because it's a really interesting background.
Well, I was hired as the senior art director.
Mhm.
And so I was responsible for like designing the cable guide
Okay.
for cable TV and doing all the home video covers,
Okay.
as well as doing anything for the Mansion or Jazz Festival. Anything that is not magazine
Mm-hmm.
would be under
The creative art director.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes
That's
sense.
Yeah, so I-
incredible.
Were the videos, was that the pivotal time where they really were blowing up in
Yes.
the 90s?
yes. That's when
Because, that's what we were watching last night when Hef realized, or it was actually Christy had just come on and was like, okay, there's a whole new arena or platform rather of marketing that's coming available to us. And so the VHS tapes they were showing. And so
that was
assumed
my big tour in
at that
1992
time,
as
yeah.
Playmate of the Year. I remember going to all the video stores and
Yeah.
doing all the
Yeah.
video
all the signings. Yeah. And we shot so many Playboy videos
Oh
of
my
those.
gosh, Trachillis
Wet and Wild.
Productions.
I know.
We have to get a hold of them.
Yeah.
Trachillis, I cannot wait.
I don't know. I might hurt him after making me swim in that bowl of cold milk
Oh
for
my
18
gosh.
hours.
Oh.
I'm like, I'm never doing a video again.
Or with all of they would put on parka and earmuffs
Yeah.
in 20-degree
and
weather
we're naked.
and be like, it's cold. I'm like, really?
Yeah,
You think? Oh my
Exactly.
gosh. But thinking back, we were talking earlier with you about how you would even choose the proper dress for the girls, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
For the special events such as like the Playmate of the Year events and yes.
or any like Wet and Wild.
Yeah. So that was my favorite costume that we wore at Wet and Wild with all the covers on there.
Yes.
Remember?
Yes.
And then I have the sarong, but I auctioned off my swimsuit, obviously.
Oh gosh.
I made so much money auctioning my panties.
Oh my gosh. That was one thing I didn't do.
And they always were like, now they're not clean, right? I'm like, oh yeah, and they're totally washed.
Ew.
Totally. I would
Oh
never
my-
see. I would never, ever, ever send dirty underwear. That's gross.
Oh.
Okay, so we were talking about those events actually, the Wet and Wild. We had so much damn fun at those
Oh my
events.
god.
Those
Those
are
were
really
the
fun.
best parties.
Oh,
I mean, they were huge.
It was
Huge.
like getting to play with celebrities in a pool. There's
Yeah.
something so hilarious about that.
But the
And
amount
going
of
down the
playmates were like, there was like 40 girls there, wasn't
At
there?
least 40.
Yeah,
at least.
All dressed the same.
Yeah.
I have all those pictures somewhere framed. And then
So
going
fun.
down, the slides with Pauly Shore and his little
Yes.
green thong. And
Oh my gosh. And what's his name? Lou Diamond Phillips.
oh, there were so many people.
Oh,
Shaq
yes.
was there. Yeah, him and Daphne Duplay actually were dating at that time.
Okay.
How funny.
That's so funny.
Yeah, those were super fun. And those were consistent for a good, 5
10
years?
10 years.
10
10
years?
years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild? My brother snuck in one time. I forget.
I think we always tried
it
to
was
sneak
Tony
somebody in.
Borg's card. My brother had
Oh, yeah.
Tony Borg's card, and he goes, "I'm Tony Borg," and it was his business card that he stole from me and had the plate. They're like, "You're not Tony Borg."
Oh, yes, I am.
And it probably was Michael Lee, like standing there, and he
I was standing at the gate.
Yes.
Always.
And what's so funny, they ended up letting him in because it's my brother,
Yeah.
and he was so funny. My brother was just the greatest,
That
like
was
so much
so
fun. They
fun.
got a kick out of it. And if it was you, if you remember that, that's funny.
Yeah,
Yes.
So Michael, being the art director, I assume that you worked closely with Hef because that was sort of a new division that was created within Playboy Entertainment, right?
Yes.
And you were here in LA. So talk to us about what it was like working with Hef personally.
It was an experience working with a great icon.
Yeah.
I learned so much from him. He is really a truly inspiration for everybody.
For everybody. Yeah.
For everybody. He was
He's so multifaceted.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
It's just like you can't point to one
What were you-
finite detail.
Exactly.
It's just like Karina said the other day when we were talking to Cindy that she thinks that Hef was like right and left brain because of his attention to just everything.
Everything.
And his ability to just do everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Period.
But so hands-on. And like everybody has that personal experience in moment in time with him. And Michael, that's a long time, 12 years to work with him. And
did he sorry, I didn't mean to
No.
interrupt you, but just so I have this thought. Did he work so closely with you to develop this department, or more you had to check in and just show him what's going on? This is where we're kind of headed towards, because Christy Hefner was running the company at that time.
right.
Okay.
Initially, what would happen was that we would work with, like, say, home video on doing a video cover.
Okay.
And then we would shoot the cover, and then we would send him a selection of different designs. And then he would, select the design that he liked the best.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how it worked. And we would always have to make sure that anybody in creative would have to be around at all times, so that when we sent the ideas up,
Get that call.
soon as the mansion calls, somebody had to be there. And it was either Larry Logan, who was the creative director at the time, or myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember one time we got Larry was at lunch, and then she was a creative. She was in creative, but she wrote all the copy.
Mm-hmm.
Her name was Beverly,
Mm-hmm.
and Beverly and I took the call, and so we wanted to make sure that we didn't get any mistakes as to what he was,
Of course.
what he wanted.
Mhm.
So we asked him. We said, would you mind if we placed you on speakerphone, so that we can make sure that that we can get exactly what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Collectively, all
And
together.
so he said, "Oh yeah, no problem." And so he told us his, what his thoughts were. And then when Larry came back from lunch, he said, "You put Hef on speakerphone."
But he loved that.
Yeah,
And
Hef
the thing
didn't mind.
was, he liked working with you
Yeah.
because of that.
Yeah.
Because you wanted to get right in there. A lot of people were too probably fearful and
And I'm
Yeah.
sure those people didn't last long,
No.
or hired for that matter.
Yes.
It's like,
And I loved what Michael said earlier about how he gathered things from working at Playboy, and the things that he learned from Hef
Mhm.
took him into a whole other realm
Mhm.
of the entertainment company that you started in the Philippines,
Mm-hmm.
and not having been at Playboy, and he attributes that to what were you telling me?
Well,
that,
it was Hef. One of the great things about Hef is that he instilled loyalty. And so
that's the first I've heard that.
yeah,
I like that.
he
Know that,
he
but
knew
that's
how
true.
to instill loyalty,
Yeah.
and so he supported you, and he knew how to bring out the very best of you.
that's
That
what
is
I
absolutely
said. I
right.
get goosebumps.
She said last night when
Yes.
we got home and I had eaten my edible and I was finally just like goofy and funny and relaxed. And she goes, and we were watching the Playboy story because we're getting just so much more from it the second and third time we watch it. But she said, Hef really just had an eye for longevity of the Playmates. He chose women that
had
were
longevity.
going to just,
Yeah,
And there, it was.
don't you think that's true?
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Definitely.
He saw that.
And then
It's-
what did my daughter say last night? Oh,
How cute. Her
this is so
daughter
profound. My 10-year-old.
is
Go.
10 years old. She goes, because she hears us talking. She said, I think that it's pretty incredible that a man had a company that helped so many women.
Oh yeah. So the
It's
fact,
true.
It's so true.
here's the quote: the fact that he
Yeah, we wrote it
ran
down.
a business that
business.
supported women is awesome.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what
By
she
Stella.
That was it. Yes, by
And I was
Stella
like,
Rain.
Well, because she knew him. She
Oh.
went to the mansion several times for Easter, and she will always remember that. And she just is always like, "I'm so sad the mansion's gone." I go, "Oh, honey, everybody is." But yeah, the
Everybody
instilling
is.
loyalty and seeing the longevity. I just love that. That is so on par with who he was.
Mhm.
And then
He was a
obviously
very
the
thoughtful-
takeaway that each and every one of us had that instilled in us, my passion for photography and art and shit, everything
and
we're doing
and,
right now.
and we were talking about how he was so loyal to
Mm.
his friends,
Mhm.
and they were his lifetime friends, and it's a beautiful thing, and he never forgot you.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And he had a huge list of human
Yeah,
beings
he
that
knew
came
everybody.
in and out of his
Yep,
life,
yep.
and he knew what was, like you said, special about
Well, he was
that
also
person.
very loyal to his employees.
Very much.
He made sure that he got to know you.
Mhm.
He would make sure that he spoke with you
Mhm.
and recognized you.
I love that.
I do too.
I love that. And that's, I mean, I would say a select group of you, not everybody that worked at Playboy Entertainment, but there certainly was the key departments. And he took care of you people because you were important to him and the magazine. It's everybody behind it too that really made it click and
That,
work.
like we said, it's a living. It still is. That's why kids are wearing. We say that logo is. It's a living and breathing brand.
Yeah,
But it was Michael Lee and
so many people behind it working.
yeah,
Side by side with Hef. Oh, you shared with me a very funny story how you had, and this was in the 90s when cell phones were just coming out.
Oh,
So
yeah.
Michael Lee had a second phone that was only for Hef.
Oh.
Yeah.
So my question first of
I
all
think I
was,
remember
how
that,
big was
actually.
that phone?
It was a small phone.
Oh, it was?
Yeah. It was a small flip phone.
Okay, it was a flip phone.
Yeah.
Okay. But tell me about that story. That was funny that, you just always knew that if that number rang or
Yeah.
if that phone rang, well, I better answer, just like you were saying.
Yeah. Whether I was in a meeting or
Yep.
it didn't matter where I was. If that phone rang, I had to pick it up,
Yep.
and I knew it was a mansion because I was the only person that had that number.
That number.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so it would always be, oh, that's
Answer,
I
her.
get your butt
I
up
miss
here.
being able to call. You.
Oh, I would always call the mansion and just mess with the
Yes.
butlers when I wasn't there. Just be like, what are you guys doing?
Aw.
Yeah, I called that the bunny phone.
The
Yes.
bunny phone. Isn't that the truth? Oh my gosh. What you guys were just talking about something before
This
we
is why I
started
said, let's not talk about
recording.
this. We have to talk about it. I know when you haven't seen someone in so long, but it feels like no time has passed.
Mhm.
It was, I'm like, what were we talking about? Everything. We went through everything from LaToya Jackson. You had a LaToya Jackson story.
Yeah.
And then there was another story that I wanted us to
Wait,
talk
I know. What was
about.
it? We didn't even write it down. It was something that
Michael
we were.
Lee. What were we talking
Michael Lee, what was
about? Oh my goodness.
Was
Can't
it the
The dresses, Anna Nicole Smith.
No,
yeah, no, wasn't that?
it wasn't that. It was something else.
Yeah, work related.
It was work related.
Getting
I
yelled
don't
at.
know.
Well, I only got yelled at twice.
I know. Aw.
What was that like to be yelled at by Hef?
Well,
Did you
Yes,
skimper
yes,
away?
it was. I knew that he wasn't yelling at me. He was
Yeah.
yelling at the situation,
Right.
and so that's what I regarded it.
Yeah.
Always
you
that,
can't
because
take it personal.
because he wasn't mad
What
at me. He was just really.
the situation?
Oh, that's a good question.
Well-
what was the situation he got mad about?
If
There
it's
was
something-
two.
there was
There's two. One was because home video wanted to change the look of their new line for couples only. And so Christy wanted a certain look that didn't look anything like what the Playboy line was.
That was the box cover that I was on, right?
Yes.
Sitting at the table?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So
Oh, wow.
so what happened was that when Barry said we have to do this, and I kind of looked at him and said, Hef's not going to like this.
You knew.
I said, yeah. I said,
He's not going to like that.
let me talk to Hef and let me just say that, that this is what we're planning to do so that he knows that what's going on. And what happened was that Barry said, no, Chrissy doesn't want any input. She just wants you to just do the designs and send it up and get an approval. And so what happened was we did that, and Hef called me up and he said, what's wrong? I said, I don't understand what you mean, Mr. Hefner. I said, these are the new designs.
You were at the mansion, though, weren't you?
No, that was
Oh,
another
that was
time.
a different time. Okay.
Yeah. But I said, these are our ideas for the new line, for the couples only line. And he says, I don't like any of these.
Not
And he says, and what you knew that you know what I like and what I don't like, and I don't like these.
And you did. You knew this.
And he says, who told you to do this? And I said, well, Mr. Hefner, let me just say that, let me get back with the people at home video and we can discuss this and we'll go back to the original ideas. He's like, when I tell you the names,
I want to know.
you name names.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, well, it was a long pause. And I said, that would be your daughter.
Oh, I love it.
And his response was,
Excellent.
And his response was, there was a long pause and then I heard a chuckle.
yeah. Isn't that sweet?
And he says,
So cute.
then he says, I understand.
Yeah.
He says, but you were never to take direction from her.
Yeah.
He
You
said-
bring the art direction to me.
That's what he said. He says, she doesn't have the eye for art.
Right.
I have the eye.
Right.
So, and so he says, I said, well, Mr. Hefner, I'm kind of caught in a situation because I report to you, I report to her, then I report to entertainment.
Yeah, interesting dynamic.
So
going on there.
he said, you don't worry about any of those. He says, you report directly to me.
Nice.
And so that's.
So that must have
I
had a
love
lot of
it.
value for you to like really realize, like, wow, okay, this is rad.
Yeah.
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 It
Rad
solved a lot of.
and pressure.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
solved
You
a lot of problems because there was
Well,
a
yeah,
lot.
yeah, I can imagine that. Like
Yeah.
the streamlined process of like, okay, let me just deal with Hef,
Yeah.
Mhm.
instead of going back and forth. And then, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. I love that story.
Yeah.
And he chuckles. He goes,
I know, it's so cute.
You bring the art
Christy.
to
And
me.
He knew exactly because
My daughter.
like you're really gonna argue with his daughter.
That's so funny. That's
Oh
so
my
funny.
gosh.
Yeah, the other one he got mad at me was with Farrah Fawcett.
Oh, do tell because I knew
I want to
that-
hear this.
yeah.
And this was,
She was a
the
rough one to
story
work
I
with.
wanted to hear
Yeah,
because
that's-
you said that she was.
Oh, that's
kind
right,
of a
that's right.
Yeah,
nightmare.
she was a trip to work with.
Yeah.
On her photo session, we spent 36 straight hours with no break doing her photo shoot.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that from Tony
Yeah,
Lynn.
she would not let any of us take
Yeah.
breaks.
Oh my god.
Because
Yeah,
she
she
would
was
go in the bathroom
miserable
and
to-
toot
yeah.
and get
Yep, to do her thing.
all ready and
Mhm.
but yes, and so finally at 10 o'clock the next day, I called Tony and I said, Tony, I need you to come down because this
This
is
is not working.
Farrah does
What a
not want to go
fiasco.
home.
Mm.
She keeps wanting to do more things, and I said we've been up all night,
Oh wow,
and
that's
and
crazy.
I said I hate to tell you, but the hair and makeup and the manicurists are all getting triple golden time because they were
Yeah.
not allowed to go home,
Yeah,
and so he came by. But I remember,
he had to deal directly with
I remember.
Farrah.
I think
Yeah.
at the end of the day, by the time she finally went home, the hair and makeup agency called me and said, I think the hair and makeup bill was like $55,000,
OMG.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
Because of all the golden
Oh
time.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Double, triple, quadruple overtime.
Wow.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
I hope he sold a lot of magazines.
Yeah,
And-
I
you
know
know,
that she
looking
was
back,
a
that's
rough
funny.
one.
Yeah,
Oh,
and then
wow.
I remember the agency called me up after the photos were released in the magazine, and she got mad. She says, "The manicurist is very upset because you didn't give her credit." And I looked. I said,
Unbelievable.
"You don't even see in the mag. She's covered in gold paint."
Oh,
Oh,
my
that's right.
gosh.
She was covered in paint and doing her nude photography.
Yeah.
Or nude artwork.
Now it's
with her
even
body.
funnier. I think of the film that we made that they titled "Picture in the Pinup," The Road Home.
Uh-huh.
There's a scene, and the little boy says, "I'm sorry," and it's the cover. It's the Farrah Fawcett.
Oh, that famous.
And he says,
yeah.
Yes, and he
That's
goes, "I'm sorry,
calendar
Farrah.
shoot.
I don't think Melissa would want me having you anymore," or whatever, and he throws it in the garbage. But Hef approved, the Playboy in that, and that's funny. I know he watched the film and probably got a kick out of that then.
Yeah.
But I didn't know, and he was such a gentleman. Another thing, he would never, ever disclose anything like that.
No.
And-
Never.
Yeah.
No.
But
He would
we
keep
are.
that on tight lip.
We are. But we don't want to be gossipy.
No,
we
we're not.
really don't.
But
We're-
it's the truth.
it's
We're
the
speaking
truth.
the
We're
truth,
talking
and that's
truth,
fine.
yeah.
We're
Yeah.
not. We're not.
talking truth here.
smut.
It's just the truth.
It's just the truth.
I'm just being honest. I mean, Michael Lee, think of everything that he did.
That's
Oh,
amazing.
that was a funny story we talked about.
What?
When he was at in the dressing rooms at that
Oh yes, at the
store.
Neiman Marcus.
Tell us the
Yes,
story.
you tell-
Okay,
that's
so-
awesome.
At
So
Neiman Marcus.
I was getting ready for the VSDA, which was a video software event in Las Vegas,
Right.
where the Wet and Wild party would take place afterwards.
Right.
But we were promoting the sexy lingerie video line, and so I had to go pick lingerie that the Playmates could wear during the day, but you definitely knew were lingerie.
Yep.
And so I had 3 of the Playmates meet me at Neiman's at the lingerie section, and I went through and I picked out the ones that I thought would work for walking into the convention, and not
That's
being
right. Parading through the convention.
In
in our
lingerie.
pink moo-moos.
Oh, I
Yeah.
remember that. The
Yeah.
pink moo
I love those.
That
So-
was beautiful.
So what happened was that I said, try these on, let's see how these look. And so they were in the dressing room, and pretty soon I hear them saying, "Michael, Michael, Michael."
Yeah.
And so I thought something was wrong. So I ran in the back, and then the sales associate got really angry with me. She says, "Sir, this is the woman's dressing room." And then the Playmate popped her head on. She says, "Oh, he's seen us naked all the time."
She was like mortified that poor saleswoman. She goes,
She's
"What is
naked
going
all
on?
the time. She's like, "Wow, this man
What is going on
Who is
here?
this man?"
Kinky." That's so great. I love that story. Oh my gosh. And that just speaks to right away. Like we were saying the other day when we were getting ready, and we were feeling like, oh my gosh, this feels like old like Playmate promotions where we would be in a hotel room and laughing and like, always naked.
Sharing a
walking
room with
around
one of
and,
the
like,
girl.
Whatever. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
It's like that was our
funny.
reality. And for the girls to be like, Michael, just come in here.
I
I can
know.
totally see that.
I love
Don't
it.
worry, ma'am. It's all under control.
It's all corporate.
It's all corporate.
It's all corporate. God, can you imagine? Today, I love that you were going to Neiman's to find the lingerie. That would not happen today. That would be like go to maybe Target or
Well,
or
I almost got in trouble for that.
yeah, because that would have been an expensive like
Well,
He has exquisite taste.
because I remember
exactly.
somebody in accounting called me in
Like what the hell is
and
this?
said, "Why are you spending $300 on a bra?" They said, "You can get a bra at Victoria's Secret for $14."
Yeah,
I said, "Well, I can get $14 bra,
right.
but you'll spend about $3,000 retouching,
I love
so
that.
that she looks like she's really enjoying it." I said, "Because this is when a woman puts on something that's luxurious." I said, "That's something that you cannot airbrush in.
Mm-mm.
You see it in her eyes, you see it in the way she moves, you see it in her face." And I said, "And that's why it's that much." I said, "Do I ask
Fair
you?"
enough.
Yeah,
And
I said,
this,
"Do I
folks,
tell
is
you
why
where
Hef-
where
Look,
to
I'm
doing my
Hired.
job,
Yeah.
and I know that this was going
Yeah.
to bring out the best in each one of
Yeah.
them. That's
And I
touche.
said, having this is better than having three reshoots."
Exactly.
And I said, and another thing, I said, I don't tell you where to put your numbers in your columns, do you? Do I? And they said, no. I said, then please don't tell me what I have to do in my job.
I'm doing it the right way. Yeah. I love that.
I do too.
Touche.
Yeah, and just so happens that on that particular cover, which was for Sexy Lingerie, it was who was in there? Julie Cialini and Donna.
D'Erico?
No, God.
Oh, Donna. Donna.
Donna.
Yeah, our Donna.
Tall Donna.
Yes,
What is wrong with us? Oh
We're
my gosh,
brain
this
dead
is
after recording so
horrible.
much. Donna.
I just talked to Donna.
We talk all the time. Yes,
Yeah, but
Donna.
Donna, we don't know what's wrong with us right
Sorry.
now. That's weird.
And I forget the third girl. I think it was. I think it might have been Victoria Silverstadt. But when I sent it to Hef, he called me up and he said, "This is one of the very few times that he says I'm stumped."
Really?
He says, I'm completely stumped. He says, whatever cover you go with is fine with me.
I like
he says,
it.
He
That's
says,
awesome.
Gives
He
me
says, this
goosebumps.
is so beautiful.
Wow.
He says, I've never seen
What
a cover so
compliment,
beautiful. Yeah.
Michael, that's awesome. And that did not happen because I know Hef was just always like, nope, this is the photo.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
No,
So he always, it was very definitive.
Don't stray from that. So the fact that you nailed 3 covers and he had nothing to say, wow. Accolades to that. That's massive. Good job.
There was one time where we did the Girls of Mardi Gras,
Yeah.
and I sent him the designs, and he called me up and he said, why are you sending me these? He said, who are these girls? I said, these are the girls that are in the video. He said, and these are the best looking girls in the video? I said, yes, Hef, these are the very best. He said, I don't believe you. I said, let me send you the outtakes. And
you'll see.
Yeah, then he calls me back. He says, Michael, he says, I don't believe it. He says, you were absolutely right.
Yeah.
He says, I'm going to get Dick Rossetti on the phone and have him cast some Playmates so that you could use them on the cover.
There you go. That's what you should do. I love it.
Wow.
I love it. I love it.
That world. Can you imagine? This is fun going back.
And that's when Daphne Duplay was on the cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's who I remember, you always had your favorites. We were talking about Daphne.
Yesterday.
She ended up in the movie I just talked about that I produced back in the day. And she and I worked for a Baywatch clothing ad as we were in pre-production for this film. And I had never met her, but she was familiar to me and I was familiar to her. And I'm like, you are so familiar. How do I know you? And she's like, you're familiar too. I don't know. And we started talking about acting. She was getting into acting. I was getting into acting. Her boyfriend was we were talking about this. So I didn't place it. And then all of a sudden she goes, I never tell people this, but I was in Playboy. And I laughed. I go, are you kidding me? I know exactly who you are. And because we're not in that environment, I didn't put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, oh my gosh, my mom and I want you to get Playmate of the Year. Because my mom and I, right when we saw Daphne, we're like, she better get Playmate of the Year. She better get it. And so I told her that. I said, where? And we hugged, laughed. And then I ended up casting her in my film.
Love it. Love it.
So
love it.
funny.
Yeah, we were making a list yesterday when we were driving home of like the Playmate Roundtable. And there's just, there's so many. But there's definitely a good solid crew from our decade from the 90s that are standouts.
And even though we lose touch, none of us really stay in touch. It's like right now, no time
it's our
passed.
Playboy family, and it's just so. It's so
I have these
food for the soul to come back together.
Yes, fun memories.
Yeah, nothing but.
Oh my gosh, just
amazing.
I remember Michael Lee, it was one of the Wet and Wild, and they were shuttling us over to the Wet and Wild. And for you guys, it was like herding cats. Really.
I know. Looking back
remember
on it
Shannon
now, I just
tweeted
feel for you all.
Oh my God.
What a job to have to oversee these 40 playmates that are like every type and vibe and personality. And
you know what was funny was that during the convention, remember when all the Playmates would parade into the convention?
Yep.
Yes, of course.
And oftentimes Penthouse would be near Playboy.
Right.
And I remember when we would parade past Penthouse, all the pets would give the Playmates the most glaring looks.
Would they?
Oh, yeah. And then some Playmates would also give them back.
Yeah.
Oh,
God, I
how
wish I would have known. I would have
funny.
been like,
I was
Sorry,
never that
bitches,
way.
we're
I would
Playmates.
never give anyone. I was never
No,
that
you're-
way.
well, hey, what did BJ Turner tell you? You're
Oh,
too.
yes. I miss BJ.
I know.
It makes me sad every time, but she toughened me up because I was a baby, you know, and when we were on tour and I had to go on the Howard Stern show, she's like, Karina, you're humble. I get
Too
it.
humble.
You're too humble. Yeah, she said, you need to go in and you need to be assertive. And I mean, she had this whole talk with me just explaining it's okay to be who you are, but you had kind of like Michael listening to him, what he was like. You were very humble because you're not used to being like, people tell you something, okay, all right, I don't want to, it's just your personality. We have more of that kind of personality. But she had to teach me, to toughen up and be assertive and no, you're a celebrity now.
Yeah.
I'm like, huh?
And you're a Playboy Playmate. And
yes,
you need to own
it, and you walk in and you look people in the eye, and you're not.
And you be confident.
Yes, you're a guest of honor. She basically told me that.
I love
just
that.
Remember, you can be gracious, you can be kind, you can be you, but be more. Don't be this
timid.
Yeah, I was afraid of everything. I was so afraid, didn't want to mess up. I was,
of course.
She's like, get that out of you. I'm like, okay.
And then I was telling Karina, I was like, oh yeah. And then I had the bad attitude, and she was like, you're not going to work for a while with that attitude. And I did it. And then I had to totally make my amends with everybody. So I go back to the office, writing letters. I really want to work. I've changed.
Yes.
So yeah, managing multiple personalities.
Yeah,
and
you were like this.
and-
Yes, she was so good at balancing. But it is funny. You got to see that. All of the girls, different personalities. And some of them it's funny how, and that's a funny thing with the Playmates. There, a lot of them, like I was very modest. You talked about walking around naked.
Yeah.
Some of the girls would be naked.
And
I was not. And I know a lot of the girls weren't. We were all different. Yeah. And that was fun. Yeah. You probably saw that too.
Yeah.
Nonstop. Oh my gosh. All kinds.
All kinds.
Well, and that was also the time that we were able to drink and party at the promotions, and they stopped that was it in the 2000s? I think it might have been the late 90s. There was one playmate, I can't remember her name, and she was doing cartwheels in the lobby of one of the casinos with no underwear on, and Lacey and
she was beside
Lacey
herself.
was so pissed. She was mortified.
Oh, I bet.
And so after that, Lacey's like, no more drinking, and it was no joke. Like, you could not drink, and if you were drinking, you got busted. And not
you don't
back.
act that way. That's not how
she
you
was like,
represent
this
the
is
brand.
That's
Not a Playmate.
She was just like, oh my gosh, no, make it stop.
Lacey knew how to teach the Playmates that weren't ladies how to be a lady. You're to be
the
a
etiquette.
lady.
Yeah.
There was an etiquette, yes.
Yeah, to follow.
Oh my gosh.
Just because you are naked in the magazine
doesn't mean you're
still
doing
need
that.
to be refined.
You're the girl next door. She doesn't do cartwheels naked in her yard.
Yes, exactly. So definitely not in the casino, darling.
It's special that you see her.
It's special that you see the
her
private bits.
The private bits in the magazine, not in public.
Oh my God, that's so awesome. That is too funny.
So I do have to ask you, Michael, how did you end up working for Playboy?
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah,
did you apply, and how did you find out about your position? And do you remember when you got the call that you got the job?
Oh, yeah.
I want to hear.
What happened was that I was tired of commuting an hour away from where I lived. And then when I saw an ad in Adweek at the time.
Again, in the classifieds.
It said there was a opening for a senior art director at Playboy, which was just up the street from where I lived at the time.
Godsend.
Wow.
Because it was on Sunset.
Yeah.
And so I said, well, as a fluke, I'll just go ahead and apply.
Let's see.
And if it works out, then that's fantastic. If not, then I'll just keep going at my job as a fashion art director.
Right.
And then I interviewed, and then like 2 weeks later, I get a call from Larry Logan, and he says, "We want to know if you're interested in the job." It's, oh yes,
I'll take it.
Oh, wow.
That is so funny. I love
Wow.
it. So we asked the same question to Cindy too, and because we were like,
And
yeah,
then
there
you're-
wasn't like Craigslist or Indeed.com. So how did you find jobs? And she
Yes.
goes, well, the New York Times had a classified department at that time still.
And then
And they didn't even say Playboy in it. They just said looking for a rock star standout PR person.
then they call her
She had no
Cindy
idea.
Rock
Or it said a distinguished men's magazine.
magazine,
So she
distinguished
thought it was,
a men,
yeah.
distinguished men's.
She thought it was like
magazine.
Esquire.
Esquire,
Yeah, or
Yes.
GQ or something. And then
Yes.
she gets the call for Playboy and she's like, yeah.
Do you remember the first time you met Hef?
yes. That was a little bit intimidating.
I think it probably is for
Yeah.
everybody
Oh,
the
yeah.
first time.
Yeah, the first time
You
was
just don't
very
know what to say
intimidating.
or
Yeah,
do.
Mm-hmm.
but he was very gracious.
Yep.
Very, very kind, and
Gracious
very
is- yep.
welcoming.
Yep.
So that right then and there, I thought, this is a wonderful
So
person to work with.
beautiful.
That's probably the number one word that comes out of everybody's mouth is gracious and welcoming when people are explaining how Hef was.
Mhm.
That's
A
exactly
gentleman.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what Lacey said yesterday, and that's a gentleman. That's what Cindy. I mean, we're all on the same page of that. I mean, we could just go down the list of he was this,
It's
and that. He was
beautiful.
amazing,
Yeah.
amazing.
What
that's
a gift to get to hear it. And I think it's important because this is our homage to Hef.
Mhm.
So
yeah, it is. It's our dedication to just
the
show
Yeah.
truth,
The
the,
wor-
truth
the
of who he
truth.
was
Yeah.
for those
Yes.
that worked with him and
Mhm.
those behind the brand.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
whether you were there for a few years or 10 years or 20 years or
Yeah,
Pat Lacey,
54
Yeah.
54
54
years,
years.
and
Amazing.
saw history change
Yeah.
and saw, well, like we were saying earlier, that he actually facilitated some historical shifts, I believe.
Oh, he
Huge.
absolutely did. Are you kidding
I
me?
mean, he liberated the sexual revolution.
Mm-hmm.
That is actually, I was just going to turn to that, Michael, because the conversation I had with Jim Peterson was so interesting, and it was all about that. Hold on if I can find it. Go ahead. Keep talking.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
We're new at this.
It was just such a great quote that he gave me, though, and I wanted to share it with you. And it just again really reminded
was-
me. Oh yeah.
Oh, go
So that Playboy was responsible for the sexual revolution. And then that he ended up writing a really interesting, like 10-page article, Playboy's history of the sexual revolution and its impact that it had on society and its occurrence. And then that also that Hefner created interactive media, and that is 1,000%.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
You know, it was
He
just
was the first
a
one that was
pioneer.
doing things
Yeah.
interactive before we even had access to the internet
Mhm,
and computers, really.
Yeah,
People didn't even
yeah.
have a home computer. And he was doing things that caused people to become engaged.
Yeah.
And we were also talking about just all of the articles and
oh my gosh.
prolific figures, historical figures, but objectivity. It wasn't a driven agenda journalism like we have today
Yeah.
on two polarized views. It was whatever you think, we're going to be objective and let
Mhm.
you have your First
Mhm.
Amendment right
Mhm,
to
mhm.
talk about it,
Mhm.
Exactly.
which is a beautiful
Huge.
thing.
Yes. And it's as it should be.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking yesterday too about, gosh, what would Huff think about what's going on in this time right now, and I think he would just
Things
be so
going
disheartened.
backwards.
And
He
yeah,
would be.
things are going backwards.
He would
And he
be.
would eloquently
Yeah.
explain
Yeah.
why, and I would love to hear his mind, explain what
Speak
his
to us,
view
Huff.
was.
Speak
Because
through us.
he
Speak through-
never saw color as an issue,
Mm-mm.
gender as an
Nope.
issue.
Nope.
Just as long as you were talented
Yeah.
and you had a really good work ethic,
Yep.
That was all
that
that,
was
mattered.
all.
And that is all that matters.
That you were loyal to him,
Yep.
because he would be loyal to you.
Exactly.
That's what mattered.
Character.
Yeah.
That's what's fun.
Exactly.
That loyalty. I love that. Exactly.
Did you attend any of the parties at the mansion, or just more of the events that were thrown for Playboy Entertainment?
I would go to the Christmas event, the Christmas
But
party.
that's special.
Yeah.
That's intimate.
Yeah.
See, I never. Did you go to that?
No.
Yeah, I would just go and just make a showing,
Yeah.
and just to say hello to
Yeah,
Hef
thank
and
you.
Mary,
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
then I would go.
Aw.
Nice.
Aw.
So you didn't wear any lingerie up? No, I'm kidding.
No.
I'm kidding. No.
If there
Didn't
was,
do that.
you know what? I'm going to ask you if you could say to Hef, like, it was as if we were having a memorial for him because we didn't go to his memorial. What would you get up and say?
About
What's a story personally that you would get up and say about Hef?
or takeaways or anything?
Yeah,
Just-
anything.
Yeah, as if we were at his memorial and we were
Mhm.
reading.
Yeah, because
something
this is
that
sort
we
of
wrote or
like
put
that.
together.
I think.
Exactly.
I guess I would have to say that I really appreciated his generosity, not money wise, but his openness,
Yeah.
the way he embraced everybody.
Sharing his
Um,
knowledge.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's what I would like everybody to know, was that
Aw.
he was really a one of a kind person, because not everybody will do that.
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Especially
You
in
know?
a position such as his.
Yeah.
Most people, I
Yes.
mean, can you imagine today? Nobody would be like that.
No,
Not
No
at all.
way.
no,
Not at all.
he was really a one of a kind person that really the world should be very sad that is no longer around.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I exactly what you just said. I
Mhm.
agree. And I
Mhm.
feel like with cancel culture and all of these things and the tone of everything, people have an idea of something and then
Mhm.
they write it off. And that's why, to me, you still want to keep his legend alive.
Well, and that's what
I mean,
what Lacey said yesterday. She said, "I'm just so proud of you girls. You're carrying on his legacy." And we just both were like, "Oh my gosh, well, wow,
Legacy. Yeah.
thank you." And yes, that's we feel the same way. That's why we're doing this. You know, at the end of the day, really only a handful of people really knew Hef intimately, or were able to work with him intimately. You know,
Exactly.
and so it's up to us to convey to the rest of, like, let's educate you on who he was, on this extraordinary human being, the man behind the legend, the icon, Hugh
Yes.
Marston
The
Hefner.
largest brand.
It was Hef. You know, Hef was Playboy.
Yes.
Yeah.
It died with
Not
him,
Playboy was Hef.
obviously.
Yeah.
No one else could do that. And
No.
that's rare. That's rare that one person could be behind something and without them. I mean, of course, he would even say it took, but he knew who
Yeah.
would be those facilitators. But without him,
Well, that was one of his gifts, was that he knew that if you surround yourself with the best,
See?
then
Mhm.
you're going to get a
a good product.
a
And that is
superb
a
product.
mantra
Mhm.
that, you know, that I swear by just in my personal life. It's like
Mhm.
you surround yourself with people like-minded and people that, you know, that are going to lift you up and have the same sort of, you know,
I'm gonna cry.
morals and values.
Well, also too, he would listen. If you didn't agree with him,
Yes, he was always.
He was
always there to
he was like the
listen.
dialogue.
Yes,
yes.
and-
Like,
and-
let's have a
That's
conversation.
humility.
Yeah.
Humility is
Yep.
teachability. It's
Yep.
objectivity. And it's something that we don't have anymore. People get
No.
emotional and emotions don't think. He was a very objective,
Yep.
non-emotional thinker. That's
Mhm.
what I mean by the right and the left
Mhm,
brain.
mhm.
Because when it comes to art, that's a very emotional
Mhm.
thing. But you have to be very left, use that intellect to say, I'm not going to get, I want to think through things. He was a thinker, a
And-
very critical thinker. And that's
Mhm.
Right. I don't know if it was you that shared the story. It was either you or Bill Farley, and it was when Hef had finally, or not finally, but him and Kimberly had gotten divorced, and he left the mansion grounds for the first time, and we were there. It was me, you,
Yes.
and Barbara was in the fashion show.
We
at
hadn't
a
seen him
club in
outside of
LA.
his
Right. And it was
house.
just the uproar. I mean, people were like, whoa. And even for us, we were like, oh my God. And then he invited us over to sit at his table because Karina had just been a couple of years previously, PMOY. And
He was so kind to me too. I
so kind.
had a special
But
relationship.
the story
yeah.
was somebody had asked, maybe they were doing a red carpet or something, and some journalist or whatever paparazzi asked him a stupid question about, having 3 girlfriends and why. And his response was it was like sort of elusive, but very direct. And that was like, you know, he would think.
Yes.
And then he would deliver, and that
yes.
was it.
Mhm.
It's
You know?
fun to watch. It was fun
Yeah.
to watch him do that. It's fun to watch him in interviews now.
Yeah.
Going back, like the glorious.
Oh my God, we're loving these
Steinem.
interviews. Oh God. Yeah, that was not a good. Yesterday, Lacey was like, "Oh, don't bring her up." And
It's
Bill
funny, but
Farley.
it's fun. You
No,
have
Bill
to.
Farley
Those are
too.
all-
He was like, don't you ever bring me, or don't you ever like." Or he said, "Don't bring Gloria Steinem on the show with me." And I go, "Well, I never thought about that. What's the backstory on that?" And then he told me, I had no idea that she did that
Yeah, she
was
underground
a
or undercover
feminist
thing.
that-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and did the bunny put on the bunny costume and just really ripped
So yeah, like
ripped on the whole the whole thing and the objectification of women and it was fun how he would be able to articulate why it's and him being a gentleman and putting women in powerful positions and not doing it. He didn't do it like you said. It wasn't an agenda. That was just the best person for the job.
Exactly. Yep, spot on.
So he was the opposite of, these feminists that would attack him. And my brother went to Occidental. I think it was and all of the students there found out that I was in Playboy and gave him the hardest time.
Isn't
your
that interesting?
sister is she's but they would call me a slut and this and that. He's like, you guys are more vulgar than she could ever be. Just saying these things, but those were the arguments that he would pose too.
That's interesting because I had a flashback of when you're first posing and your stuff is coming out. And then there comes a period where like you don't want to talk about it or you don't want to tell people about it because of ridicule and judgment, And I certainly went through that. There was a good 6 years that it also involved like body dysmorphia issues that I have. And I think probably a lot of us do.
Just having been a model and seeing your
and
art because it was art.
And
Playboy gave the most beautiful, and they were art images.
Yeah.
And then to see yourself because we age or
and
whatever.
Getting pregnant and your body's not the same after. And so I just put everything away for a really long time. But it was doing that and bringing it all back out and going through my archives with Steve Martinez actually came down. He's one of my dearest friends from the mansion and went through all my archives with me and said, get rid of this, keep this. And I got all my Playboy stuff out. And that's when I started realizing the magnitude of not only the content that I had created that I owned, but it was all a direct reflection of Playboy and how proud and honored I was.
Yeah, you don't realize you don't have the capacity to appreciate that when you're younger.
At that age, I
look back and I'm like, my goodness, just the things that we did and what where we went.
Yeah.
When you look back, you think, here we were.
At that Con Film Festival, staying on the Playboy yacht and like
Star Island.
Oh, we have to go to another dinner.
The Denver Broncos.
Like, what is wrong with you?
Oh, I know. Do I have to get on this yacht?
Oh yeah, and then
oh my,
the Super Bowl party, that was the funnest one ever in Miami with the Broncos and I do
want to ask, Mike, what was the most fun you had at a promotion?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah,
like the one that stands out that was the most glamorous and exciting for you.
I would say it was, I don't remember exactly. It was part of VSDA, I believe. It's when Hef went to the Hard Rock.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's when we had to bring in the round bed.
Yep.
And we brought, tons of archive art.
That's cool.
Things like that. We redecorated the Hard Rock Cafe. It kind of made it like a Playboy casino.
Yeah, exactly.
And that was really fun.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And you were completely behind all of the art direction for that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was
I love that.
I bet you have phenomenal photos of all of those things.
I don't.
Why not?
That's how I was, Michael.
Because
I didn't
you were
take
thinking
many
about
pictures.
Like, capturing it. You're I'm busy.
Yeah.
Even as a playmate, I didn't. I don't either. And I wish, the archives even at Playboy, pictures with celebrities that I would love to have.
You don't have any of that?
I have a few, but not many. And then I had some things stolen out of my storage. And they took, so I don't like to think about it because
it pisses you off.
Tons of, I don't like to think about it. But you know what? It's about now.
Yeah.
And we have these fragrance of memories to look back on.
Yeah. The only one that I have a picture is with Dick Rossetti. and Claude Howard, and it was with Farrah in New Orleans.
Oh, wow.
The one who was a total
the one that gets
disaster
you
to
up all
work
night.
with.
How sad.
How funny.
Aw.
What was your favorite event? That's a good question.
Honestly, one of the standout, amazing, and I won't go into detail about it, but it was with EAS, Bill Phillips, and the Denver Broncos when we were, and they won the Super Bowl, and we were with the Broncos, and we had that private helicopter that would land on the yacht.
That's right. I took a helicopter ride that night.
Yes, and so did I with Bill Romanowski. Yes. It's so funny, like looking back, and it's surreal.
Wild.
Those moments are
so
like
fun.
those surreal, and for not really being a celebrity, we were celebrities, and that was a beautiful, fun thing.
Yeah.
And once in a lifetime. And I look back and that was probably by far one of the best.
That was definitely hands down one of the best. The Wet and Wild that I was speaking about, where we had all the matching with the
Pia made me
Playboy
laugh
covers
so hard.
there.
I was cry laughing in the pool.
Yeah.
She stuffed her bra. Remember Pia?
Pia
yeah.
Reyes.
Yeah, she's my favorite.
I love Pia.
She's still like
we have to have her on the show.
Yes,
We will,
she's
absolutely.
so fun and funny, and she had and there was tissue coming out, and we were playing volleyball. I forget, with some celebrities, I don't remember who, and the tissue was going everywhere. And they're like, "What's coming out of your shirt?" She's like, "Never mind about it, but they're getting smaller."
That sounds like Pia.
Funny. She goes, "My boobs are shrinking," and they're just playing.
Okay, I'm gonna tell you a funny story of because that's just the caliber of Playmates. It's like, no matter what, we're gonna still keep it together and just don't mind, everything's okay.
So funny.
So I was definitely fortunate to do a lot of the international promotions. Tony Lynn and I just became very, very tight, and miss him too. I'm so sad he's gone. So Barbara and I was Barbara and I on this trip? Yeah, I believe so. So I was meeting her in Cannes, and she had left early with Tony Lynn and had gone to London, and they were going to meet some clients there and go out to dinner, which they were. And they're at this very nice, 5-star restaurant, and Barbara's playing her part and all dressed up and conversating and whatnot. And she said, well, I have to go to the restroom. And so she gets up and she walks up this very large, stairwell. And uses the restroom, and then she comes out and she's standing at the top, doing her pose. She falls and falls down the entire stairwell, but lands perfectly like this and goes, "No bother, I'm fine," and gets up and saunters over to the table and sits down. So Tony tells me this when we made up in France, and I was like, oh, if that is not a Barbara moment, I don't know what
I
is.
love her so much. She makes it. She's both used to make me cry laugh, because we would be. I remember at Anna Nicole Smith's Playmate of the Year party.
Yeah,
we were all standing there just laughing
because
it's so. Some things are so surreal. I think she walked up and I said, "Congratulations," and the way she looked at me, she goes, "Thank you." Like she pitied me. It was
Barbara?
weird. No, not Barbara. But you guys were standing there and we all started cry laughing. I have a picture of us cry laughing. I think you gave me the pictures. Like somebody had taken pictures of us at the mansion.
The ones I just sent you. That was was that from? No, that had to have been Anna Nicole.
Yes, it was hers.
Yeah, it was. And there were some other ones with Heather Kozar where Barbara would always be up. She would always make sure she was always right up front, right next to Hef.
Yes.
Hef, I'm here.
Yes.
She's
so
such a
funny.
Photo whore.
She's the best.
Oh, I love her.
Oh, Michael, do you remember all of this?
Oh, yeah, vividly.
Vividly.
This was such an
more
honor
comes back.
to have you, and it's been just a wonderful. This was so fun,
and really, truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much.
Oh, it's my
you have
pleasure.
Been an asset in terms of just really drumming up ideas and people to speak to, and just getting more and more history, and then everybody we speak to just same
Says
reaction.
the same
They're
thing
just
about
so
Hef.
happy that we are doing this. Everybody is on board, and I mean, just the guests that we have coming on are incredible. And thank you for being in our first week of recording this.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes,
It's
thank
been
you.
So fun. And we're realizing there's going to be so much more that's going to come from this, because I think it's impossible to cover Playboy in one season.
Oh, yes.
It
There's
really
so many
is.
stories when
There's,
we'll
like,
keep
going into
uncovering
the,
and
like, oh my gosh.
people have their story and it's just fun to see different
Mhm.
perspectives
Mhm.
behind
Exactly.
the brand, you know.
So, okay, so 3 words to describe Hef, and then like your biggest takeaway from your years at Playboy.
3 words would be like loyal,
Mm-hmm.
kind,
Yep.
outgoing,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess the biggest takeaway would be just being able to work with an
Just
icon.
that experience.
Yeah. Just
Yep,
having
fair enough.
the luck to be able to work with, a world famous icon
Exactly.
and learning from him.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
We are so blessed. We really are. Just thank you, Lord.
So
We love you,
awesome.
Hef. We miss you all the
Yes.
time.
Aw.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, that's always what we're going to hear, is just the extraordinary opportunity to have been in his graces and to have learned from him and worked with him and had loved him and been
honor.
friends with him and, all of the
Yeah.
above. So,
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
he's dearly missed.
Yes,
Dearly
he
missed.
is. He
big
really
time.
is.
And there will never be another human being like
No.
Hugh
of course
Hefner.
not. One and
No.
only. One and only.
That's a once in a lifetime thing that you see. Yeah. So, okay. Well,
We
thank
will
you.
wrap
to
it
Thank
up.
you.
Lee. We have some other great guests coming up over the next following week. So everybody stay tuned. Miss Karina, thank you so much, as always.
Thank you, Echo.
My sister, my Playboy
Yes,
sister,
we-
my Playmate sister, my partner in crime,
Yes.
my laughing buddy.
I know.
Yeah, this has
So
just
fun.
been awesome. All right, people. Well, stay tuned. Thank you for tuning in. I am Echo,
I'm Karina.
and this is
The Butt